Nygren. Thank you for tuning in. We are back from the UK. As you might know, we spent a couple of days in Bath at the ARC convention and a few days in Bristol recently recording a Red Eyes TV program on occult symbolism in corporate logos. We are currently editing our third episode, though, on Illuminati symbolism in movies, and this will be available soon on redicecreations.com. It's good to have you all with us. We are going to spend an hour now talking with PhD Michael Noah Mautner. He is a research professor at the Department of Chemistry at Virginia Commonwealth University. We stumbled over an article on physorg.com a while back with the title, "We Have a Moral Obligation to Seed Universe with Life." This article featured an interview with Michael, and we are interested in talking more with him about his ideas and the research when it comes to Panspermia. This is about the seeding of life on other planets. We are now technologically at a point where we have the ability to also send microbial life from this planet to other worlds out there in space in order to perpetuate life. The theory also goes that life on this planet actually started in this way. We are going to talk about how this could be done, where in space, or rather to what planet we could send it, what the reasons for this is. And obviously the question of morals comes into this picture as well. Is this the right thing to do, and what would the consequences of this be? Hi Michael, welcome to the program. First, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background in terms of astronomy and cosmology before we go into the idea of panspermia?
Well, my background, I am actually a physical chemist. I'm not an astronomer. And I do my research is in the area of reactions of ions, ionized gases. And one of the applications is in certain aspects of certain reactions that happen in space. But apart from that, I have been interested in space, life in space, and how to secure life on Earth by going to space. And this subject since the mid-1970s, really. More recently, I have been working along with a soil science department in New Zealand here, and I had an occasion to look at how living organisms respond to meteorites, which is actual samples of materials from space. And so I had some both kind of theoretical research and experimental research in relation to how life could exist in space.
Very interesting. And so tell us a bit about the idea of panspermia and how far back that goes, and when you stumble upon this theory yourself, because it's really, we'll get into more in detail in terms of what panspermia is a little bit later, but when did you first come across this theory, Michael?
Well, let me say there are two aspects of panspermia. One is that life spreads in space by itself through various mechanisms, and that has been around since, speculated on since the time of the ancient Greeks. But more recently, Lord Kelvin, a very famous British scientist, picked it up and argued about it, that rocks carry microbes around in space from planet to planet. The great Swedish chemist Svante Arrhenius was one of the great proponents of this theory also. And I don't want to mention is Fred Hoyle, also a British astronomer, who also very much and his co-worker Vikramasinghe from India, they were very much of proponents that this happens naturally. However, there is no evidence whatsoever so far that there is any life in space at all. There might well be, but we really don't know. Now, the other idea is that to reverse this process in a way, and that's of course directed panspermia. Well, it was first posted by Carl Sagan actually in his book Intelligent Life in the Universe, and then the key article was by Orgel and Crick, Leslie Orgel. So Orgel and Crick discovered of DNA, and he suggested that maybe life came from space through other civilizations, sending life to here. I kind of came up with this idea in the reverse about the same time by myself, and then found these articles. And my concern was that life is endangered on Earth, and this was in the 70s with the nuclear arms race and so on. And so it seems very wise to maybe make sure that life will continue whatever happens on Earth. And then it's how I started to work on the subject.
Very interesting. So you mentioned a few names there. It's been an ancient theory in that sense. Then it goes back a long time. But what do you think then that life, if we begin in this end, here on Earth, might have come from either directed panspermia or something else? That in terms of, we have this theory that microbes and things like that are trapped in asteroids, and consequently when they come into a biosphere which has the properties to sustain life, then that's how life began on each planet. Do you think that that's true, Michael? Do you think that the life might have come from outside and started up in that way here on our planet? What do you think, Michael?
It is possible. Again, we don't know. There are many who believe now that if there are conditions anywhere for life to get started, the right chemistry, that it will almost always happen. I happen to be on the other side of the argument. The key concept is, which is also leads into my general philosophy and ethics about this question, is that a microorganism, even a microbe, a single microbe, microscopic little organism, is an incredibly complex creature. In order for it to function, there are thousands of enzymes, DNA, membranes, energy mechanisms. All of these things have to be through very, very complex and precisely shaped molecules that all have to be there at the same time. If one is missing, you have a disease or you have an organism that cannot function.
Yes.
So you have an incredibly complex mechanism in even a single cell. The probability for that to come together, even in a very primitive way, for be able to perform all of these functions, that probability might be very, very small. So even if there are billions of planets out there, let's say in a galaxy, where the conditions are right, but if the chance of that is 1 in 100 trillion or something like that, it's very unlikely that it will happen. And it happened here, it doesn't mean that it will happen. It happened somewhere else. So basically, we just don't know.
If it is true that life began elsewhere and not here, we're still stuck with the mystery, though, of where did it begin in the first time, right? We still have that problem to tackle, so to speak.
Exactly. That does not solve the question of the origin of life, which is really one of probably the most important outstanding question in science that hasn't been answered yet.
Yeah.
And we cannot really know how it actually happened. We can maybe find out through experiments how it might have happened. But there are many ways that it could have happened.